You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Make yourself famous. A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks. I, of course, am your host, Kyle Gagliardi, and the man joining me is my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucky! How are the volumes on that one?
Literally got feedback detection, so the GarageBand was like, hey,
tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, it really just asked me, like, are you still good with monitoring? Is it going to be if it's going to be that loud in your ears? So
I do that from time to time, whether it's Screaming Tucky, Screaming SCU. Wait, do you want me to say it?
Nope.
All right, well, I can save it for later.
GarageBand doesn't, I'll tell you that.
We will get there later, but before we get into things, Tucky, we have a returning special guest.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
He's clapping for himself.
Yeah. All the fans in the headquarters here are bouncing off the walls, you know.
Some may call him the OTSN glue guy. When I say some, he's the only one that says that. Aaron Oros. Aaron, welcome to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Now, more than some, just about everybody calls me the OTSN glue guy.
Tuck, have you heard that?
I've actually never called him that. Great guy, good friend, sure. Glue guy? Yeah.
Well, looks like we're going to have to up funding for advertising on OTSN glue guy.
Doesn't he look kind of sickly when he leans into the mic like that?
Okay, you know what?
You could scoot the chair closer. That might
I
help.
like it like this.
Okay, man. Maybe.
I think the listeners would like it if it was the mic was a little higher to your mouth.
Hey, let's hear it. Let's do a little help. We're gonna help you out. They can't see this. Look at that.
Wow.
That's all it took.
Oh yeah, butter.
How's the volume now, Vogus? You're probably the only one listening to this, right?
Probably just focus.
Mikey Wilson.
Oh yeah, Mikey Wilson. How you doing, Ian? What am I missing? Anyone? Quinn? Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All four of them. We're
Alyssa? Hey, I just name drop.
First official.
First name drop. As she literally just texted me as I'm recording
hello,
this here.
Alyssa.
Yeah, that's a problem. But hey, I got a text message from the big guy around 2:00 today. He was like, "Hey, can I join the podcast?"
I thought you were talking about T-Walk.
No. Fire T-Walk. And the big guy is Aaron.
Yeah.
And you were cool with it.
As always, there's a few people, you know, as you get into the podcast, there's a few people that are, you know, in our inner circle.
Ooh, I like the word.
Some would say, you know, Vogus, open invitation, open mic. You know,
I don't think Vogus would have been able to make it around this time.
But, you know, he said, hey, I'm available. And I said, you know what, we better get after it. So.
Yeah, it's the Royal Rumble. Probably second best pay-per-view?
I was just going to ask you, where does this rank in
number 2 without question. Just because it's a Royal Rumble, you never know who's going to show up, and you know, I wouldn't say a lot of times, but there's sometimes you got these guys that show up, and it's big time. So I'm excited, especially for this Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
I'll also get into it. But
this Royal Rumble is much different than past years. Usually, in most years, you know who's going to win, or you have a good idea. This year, it's kind of up for grabs, but we were talking about the OTSN glue guy, Aaron Oros. OTSN, Overtime Sports Network, we are proudly a part of. Tuck, you want to tell the listeners a little bit about the Overtime Sports Network, which the issues were solved, if you saw on Twitter.
Yeah. The Overtime Sports Network is a collection of blogs and podcasts covering a number of all the different major sports. We have a bunch of bloggers, and we're always looking to add bloggers as well.
That's right.
And we have a number of different podcasts on the boat as well. On the boat, AEW. Hey.
All right, Tuck.
You know, from Family Divided covering football, Wheelhouse
Barely.
Baseball covers baseball whenever they, you know, eventually. You got the Region Degenerates covering the gambling. Fade Mikey on that one. And then, you can go to otsportsnetwork.com or on the Twitter sphere @_OTSN. You could follow myself, co-host of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, @JimTuck89, and you can follow Kyle.
There it is.
On Twitter @TooSweetKyle.
Too sweet. That's
There we
right.
go.
And you can follow Aaron @the AA_Ron. That's where you can follow him. He doesn't tweet that much.
No, Twitter for me is just like news. So I just go on, and then I'm pretty sure like anything substantial that happens in any realm of sports news, it's going to be on Twitter.
I mean, even in politics, our president tweets every day.
I am now. I go to Twitter to find leads before I even go back to Google. Twitter. Twitter's instant. You know,
Do you still get a newspaper?
No. Let's talk about that for a second.
Oh,
I
here we
was
go.
a digital subscriber to the Times, getting all the articles. They posted an editorial that I wasn't happy with called to cancel, and I've been charged the last 2 months. They will be getting a phone call this morning.
Ooh.
Confirmed,
all right.
Confirmed the cancel. Got a cancel email. I've been charged $6.99 the last 2 months. Not happy about it.
You can't see the look right now because you're listening, but Tucky is not happy.
No.
I just got charged today, too, but it was for another PlayStation renewal, so I'm okay with that one.
I forget every year on January 1st that my Xbox Live updates. 60 bones right out of the account.
Yep.
I always forget about it, and then, like...
What happens if you, like, decide to stop and you forget that the renewal's happening? Will they refund you?
A lot of times, no.
No, I mean it's a yearly thing, so you have a year to cancel it. So
I don't know my exact date. It's like all this stuff that automatically comes out. I just don't even pay attention.
Adulting starts. It adds up. It gets hard.
Well, it just started for Aaron. He just turned 26, so just got his own place too.
Come on, come on.
This guy's on fire.
Stayed there last night.
Oh, is that your first night?
Yeah, felt great.
There we go.
Woke up this morning, was like, my parents aren't here. It's awesome.
Drops his boxers just to walk around the house naked.
I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I was like, I leave wherever I want. Hey, where are you going? Who cares? You're not here.
Hasn't quite been there long enough to endure the spooky house sounds that he hasn't come familiar with.
Actually, I don't know, man. I was hearing some things downstairs. I muted my TV about 5 times. Like, what the fuck? What is that?
You live next to Big Chair, and he has some weird sounds, so I'm not surprised that you had that. So Aaron confirmed big guy now, big man. He's got his own insurance. He's got his own place. So let's talk about the Royal Rumble, guys.
A natural segue.
Yeah. You go, well, big guy. Yeah. There's big guys in the Royal Rumble.
Okay, yeah.
Ryback.
A big guy like Sheamus, not Ryback. Sheamus probably had matches with Ryback. Actually, I know he did. Sheamus is facing Shorty G. I did not know this was a match. I wouldn't be surprised if it's on the pre-show.
It better be.
Tuck, what are we thinking here?
Sheamus is going to win. And that's all I got.
I'm with Tuck there. Sheamus just got back. Why would you have him lose? He's going to win, and that's going to be about it.
Yeah, interesting choice going with Shorty G as your first match back, but okay.
What else you got for Shorty G?
And we talked about that when Sheamus makes this return, builds up with all the vignettes, and then Shorty G is the first one in line. So
interesting choice. Sheamus wins. Like you said, hopefully this is on the pre-show.
Yes.
A match that I don't think will be on the pre-show, and it shouldn't, is the Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, of course, is going to have Sami Zayn and probably Cesaro ringside versus Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman just picked up a win over Nakamura, I believe, on last week's SmackDown. So, Aaron, I'll let you go first. Is this title changing hands at the Royal Rumble?
I think it has to. I mean, the fact that Braun Strowman, I'm pretty sure besides the tag championship, has not held anything else.
Correct.
And they gave him a huge push.
But wait, he did get a belt for winning the greatest Royal Rumble.
That is true.
A big green one.
I know I've voiced my opinion on this with Kyle. I hate the Sami Zayn and now Cesaro involvement with Shinsuke Nakamura.
You don't like that?
No, I don't. Sami Zayn it just annoys me. And I know
that's the purpose.
I get it. Trust me, I know, but it annoys me past that, knowing what it's meant to do. So,
okay.
But I think it's about time. I mean, Braun needs something. I mean, they've given him such a push, and I mean, he's good for his size. He could talk all right on the mic, and I think this makes sense. Now, knowing WWE and what they've done with Braun, I could easily see him losing too. It wouldn't surprise me, just because every time they give an opportunity, it seems like he doesn't win the title. But I think this does change, and I think he'll win the Intercontinental Championship. And then what you do with Shinsuke and those three, I guess, is up in the air. But I'm going to
do some tag stuff,
yeah,
maybe.
Of course.
That's an option. Tucky, what are we thinking here with the IC title?
I'm crossing my fingers for Braun Strowman. Doesn't quite have the rocket on his back like Keith Lee does as a big, but you know, I'm ready for it and to see what he can do. I'm tired of him dancing with the New Day. So I'm over that.
Didn't like that.
No, I thought it was actually kind of funny. But,
yeah, you gotta have some of those moments here.
Yeah, and I'm going with Braun. So
I am going to make this a complete sweep here. Shinsuke Nakamura is a good wrestler, but is he a good champion? Has he done anything to make? I'm sure he brought in that new design, but since then we really haven't got a legitimate feud with him. I think Braun Strowman is a credible enough guy to take that belt away. You're going to sell more tickets with Braun Strowman on the marquee as Intercontinental Champion than Shinsuke Nakamura. That's the way I look at it. Going into this is the road to WrestleMania now. That's what Royal Rumble is. Braun Strowman's going to become the Intercontinental Champion. That's what I'm going with here. So, us three, I'm assuming you're keeping track, Tucky, of what we're picking.
Typing it up, pumping
something
it out.
on the line here. We always put something on the line.
Fine with some on the
Another drink. We did it last time.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm in.
All right. I'm sure we'll be out and about sometime,
Sure.
Yeah.
especially during the summer when it gets nice out.
Oh, yeah.
After some wiffle ball, who knows? Aaron, you going to make it out to Leroy this year?
Hey,
You might.
maybe.
He could be a star, dude.
What?
We can make him in Leroy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We can make you in Leroy. It's a different game in Leroy because you can actually run and field.
Your
it's
athleticism is a little bit more on display.
But is
in
it as
Leroy.
hard to hit?
No, if they
Dude,
throw
I hit
5
like
balls,
19 home runs.
if they throw 5 balls,
Okay.
they have to come to the front and lob it.
Oh.
So that's when you can smash. And then what we're talking about right now, if you don't know, is Leroy Wiffle, which is a sponsor of the Overtime Sports Network. You can check them out on Twitter
Nice segue.
at Leroy Wiffle. The next championship matchup I want to talk about here, and actually before we really get into this match, the United States champion Andrade had a ladder match on Monday Night Raw with Rey Mysterio. I thought it was a pretty good match. Tuck, what did you think about that match with Rey?
There was some hard spots, and I was impressed with it. It was actually pretty physical, and I think sometimes for those smaller guys to be as physical, you don't see it much, but Rey was flying all over the place. There was a spot that I thought Andrade broke his neck on the ladder.
Yeah.
A lot of like cringe spots. Oh, and he pops up and he's fine. So I was pretty impressed with it.
Aaron, did you catch that ladder
I
match?
did. I mean, it was like. I mean, I thought they were just. I mean, were they trying too hard? I don't know, but I mean, it got a little sketchy.
Don't steal my take.
Is that the take?
Trying too hard? Yeah, I tweeted that.
Oh, I thought no. There's a hot take coming. A theory.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
there's a theory coming.
Okay, well,
Not
whatever.
Austin.
No, keep
But,
going.
I mean, they were going at it, and I mean, obviously, if you know anything about WWE and wrestling, you knew that Andrade was going to win that. I
Selena Vega getting involved.
Right, exactly. I mean, that was as expected as anything could be. But I mean, I liked the match, but I was like, man, how are none of these guys walking away with any serious injuries? But I mean, it was good.
Ray might be injured. I thought.
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like they were protecting
I know where
him.
you're going with this because you've brought it up to me before, and I could see it. But I'll let you.
Sometimes in ladder matches, and we haven't had one. According to WWE, it says in 13 years, but CM Punk on WWE Backstage said he had a ladder match since then. So he's like, WWE might want to check that. But I think sometimes
On
they
Raw?
yeah, on a
Oh,
Raw.
okay.
I think they sometimes try to get a little too cute and fancy with ladder matches, and there was a couple. I wouldn't say they were missed spots because they ended up making it with what they had, but some of the spots didn't connect as well or as smoothly as I probably wanted to. Still a really good match. Like if I get that match on my television screen, I'm going to be entertained.
Right.
And I usually complain about rematches, but if you're going to give me Andrade and Rey Mysterio,
Yeah.
ain't no complaints. So
Correct.
the right man retains. Zelina Vega did a great job at being the heel manager there. But so that led us to Humberto Carrillo coming back, who we know Andrade attacked him a couple weeks before that on the exposed area on the outside of the ring. So now we are getting a championship match between Andrade and Humberto Carrillo. Tucky, what are you thinking here? Is Andrade going to roll past?
I don't think he's going to roll past. I do think he's going to win. I do think it'll be a physical match, but I do think with Andrade coming out on top here, it does set that storyline for Mania.
Mm-hmm. So Andrade retain?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yeah, I totally agree with Tuck. I think this is one of those things that he's going to win in one of those ways to where it creates a rematch going down the line, and I could see this rolling into WrestleMania where, I mean, that makes the most sense to me. So, I mean, Andrade will retain, but it'll be either Zelina Vega gets involved or something sketchy happens where he pins him, but he's got his feet on the rope,
Yeah.
and, you know, you go back and you roll this into WrestleMania. So, I'm going to go with Andrade, but to be continued.
Yeah, I'm in agreement once again. Humberto Carrillo is a guy I think WWE likes. We noticed before a couple months ago they started to give him some matches. He had a match with Seth Rollins that was really good when Rollins... AJ Styles, yeah. So Humberto Carrillo will get gold eventually. It's just not going to be now. Or I mean, we're just starting this feud. We just ended the Rey one, it seems. So let's prolong it. Zelina gets involved. Andrade retains his United States Championship.
Yeah, I just don't think we're ready for Humberto to hold a title.
Yeah, and I think with our picks, we all took Braun. I don't think they're going to change both of the mid-card championships. That's just
right.
too much going on. So,
Right.
Yeah, we're all going with Andrade there. So then let's talk about Roman Reigns, who's been feuding with Baron Corbin, which seems like since last summer, in a Falls Count Anywhere match. How do we see this one panning? I want to say this, though. I think this kicks off the show because both men will be in the Royal Rumble. So whoever wants to go first here.
I'm kind of up in the air. Let me give my pick first so I'm not influenced by anybody else.
Sure.
I'm going to go with Roman Reigns, and I think they're going to use this to build towards something. I hope it's not a huge main title picture now, but I think they will use this, have him come out strong, and maybe the dog mascot comes into play and beats Baron Corbin up too.
Gotta get some dog food involved in it and all that. The boys are going to be lurking, and by the boys I mean Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler too.
Yeah,
watch out for them. Aaron, what are you thinking?
Another Dolph Ziggler encounter. So one of my students, big WWE fan, I sent the picture of his the list of Jericho. He's got that clip binder thing. I sent that over Snapchat. It's a what do you call that? Clipboard.
Yeah, sure.
He's got a clipboard with it. I sent it to you. You saw it.
Yeah, I did.
His mom and dad flew to Mexico. Dolph Ziggler on the flight. Wow. I asked, how was he? Was he nice? I've heard bad things. They said no, they hated him.
Yeah,
not a great guy.
He's not. I would know.
Me and Aaron have always been big Dolph guys, so that was kind of a disappointment.
And you were wearing a Dolph Ziggler shirt.
No, Edge was.
Oh, Edge was.
Edge wouldn't say a word either.
Of course.
I was under the influence when I talked to him, but he's still kind
above the influence. I
was
think
kind of a dick, but the Miz was awesome.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Well,
oh, nice.
So you're going with Roman Reigns?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Aaron.
I mean, I feel like that's how this eventually ends. I mean, Roman has just been getting dumped on for months on months on months on months. And, could WWE do the thing where he loses so that he looks weak and then he wins the Royal Rumble? Then sure. I mean, I could see that coming down. But I don't think he wins the Royal Rumble. We'll save that for later. So I do think he'll win this. He'll come out on top. I mean, obviously Ziggler and Robert Roode, I'm sure, will get involved.
But the Usos got to be around.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be one of those things where it just gets out of control, where a bunch of people show up. And
it's a good start. It's a good start to a pay-per-view. Falls Count Anywhere.
Right,
yeah,
of course.
It could be, yeah.
And so, a bunch of stuff's going to happen. And
take him down in the dugout, smash his head against the garbage
I keep
can
forgetting
that.
Or the Usos.
Who's going to cheat to win?
Wait, the Usos hit trash cans when the end of days is coming.
Yep.
And
that's
Roman's
his
like,
cheat.
I know
nope,
it's coming. I'm
not
good.
Right. Yeah.
Reverse fear.
If you don't understand that reference,
so
you must live under a rock.
I'm gonna say
Look out
Roman
for a
wins.
Wheelhouse Baseball podcast in the next 11 weeks.
I was going to say, really?
Yep.
Should we?
I'm going to say Roman wins, and then because, I don't think he's going to win the Royal Rumble, so they're going to look strong because I agree with you. I can see this leading off because both guys will be in the Royal Rumble, but I'm going to go with Roman.
I'm going with Roman Reigns, and I don't want bonus points for this prediction. I feel
clean sweep.
I feel like the Usos are going to jump off a dugout onto Robert Roode or Dolph Ziggler.
What about the Nets? Are the Nets...
Who climbed the Nets? That could be a bad injury.
The
Nets will probably be
jump
down.
off the Crawford boxes up there onto the ring. It's like a 30-foot drop.
That's what they should do. They should build in some of the field elements into
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but Roman Reigns, as Aaron is aggressively grabbing another adult beverage. That's what she said.
Mick Foley off the Green Monster.
Oh, jeez. the possibilities are endless.
You get another. You guys keep getting these DUIs. You're going off the Crawford boxes.
That's a shot at the Usos if you didn't understand that one. So we all go with Roman Reigns. Guys, we got to pick different.
We will. We're getting there. I'm telling you. We're getting there.
SmackDown Women's Championship. I want to go first here. Bayley's looking to defend her title against Lacey Evans, who just got a win against Bayley last week. And I think that is going to happen again here at the Royal Rumble. I think the lady of the women's division is going to become champion. But this is going to be a very short reign because I think the plan here is that she will drop it at the next pay-per-view, which I believe is Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
Or it's a Saudi show. Do they have a Saudi show?
Oh, they have March. I can look it up.
I do believe Lacey will have a short reign. This is going to be like her test run because they obviously like her. She's had chances before against Becky Lynch. I think Bayley, ever since her heel turn as a champion, really hasn't done anything. No. Like, it hasn't been an exciting heel run. Give the title to Lacey. Have her drop it to like a Sasha Banks maybe in a month or two, and then you could figure out WrestleMania for them. But I think Lacey Evans deserves this. She's improving. She's good in the ring. This whole American hero gimmick, I was in the military, I'm a mom. I'm about it. Lacey Evans, new SmackDown Women's Champion.
There's nothing set for February. It says TBA. I don't know that they're doing one. Are they? I mean,
All we have is TakeOver Portland, I believe.
Yep, as of right now, and then Elimination Chamber is March 8th.
I'm going to predict that Lacey would drop it then.
Yeah,
So,
April 4th, NXT
TakeOver in
TakeOver.
February.
they used to have like a roadblock, which was
Somebody said Fastlane? ?
I mean, they might throw it together.
Total caveat, but I think the Royal Rumble should be the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, but that's just me.
You know, unless
I don't
you
think
have like a Starrcade or something, like just a random house show that's live.
Yeah, I guess, but
You got to have your live shows. But yeah, I'm going to go with Lacey Evans here, Tuck. What are we thinking about the SmackDown Women's Championship?
I'm going to go with Bayley just to switch it up a little bit. I don't have much of a rhyme or reason. I actually do think that they're going to put it on Lacey for this little test stretch. I do think there's a slight risk going into Mania and running the test sample. You do have the Elimination Chamber to back it up.
Because that's where multiple women would be in that match. So
Yeah, and I think I'm going to stick it with Bayley, let her ride it out, and Lacey might take it in the Elimination Chamber. I'm going to kind of flip your logic there.
No, that's fair. So you're going with Bayley. I'm going with Lacey.
So I'm the deal breaker here. This is actually more tougher than I thought because originally I'm like, okay, I could see Lacey winning this. I totally agree with Kyle. You know, originally it was like, okay, finally Bayley turned heel. This is going to get interesting, and it really hasn't. You know what? I'm going to go with Bayley. Just because I think they might do something weird, either the Raw after or in the Elimination Chamber.
Well, it'd have to be the SmackDown after. They're on
Oh,
SmackDown.
yeah, dumb. Sorry.
Gotcha.
SmackDown after.
You dummy.
Or they do something weird in the Elimination Chamber. Like you said, there's a lot of women involved.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wait, is he flopping?
No.
If it was easy, everybody would do it. You know, if
Yeah.
it was easy, everybody would make these
This is
predictions.
tough.
But
It's going to either
It's
go
tough
either
to
way.
be a guest on a
If you're
podcast.
telling me to put my money where my mouth is, I'm going to go with Bayley. I'm just going to say
You are gambling mad.
I am. I'm going to go with Bayley. And we'll see what
Speaking
happens.
of gambling, are we doing a drawing for the Rumbles?
we can do that on kind of like on the pre-show. See whoever's here.
We should
and
go
kinda-
live
Yeah.
on Twitter and show our picks and have some fun.
There we
Eat
go.
some food, you know, do guy stuff. So I'm going with Lacey.
Lacey's going to win.
These two are going with Bayley. That's a big match.
We're both not convinced that Bayley's actually going to win.
Yeah.
No changing. We're going on to the Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch looking to defend her title against a person she has never beat one-on-one, Asuka. I like the storyline here. There's a lot of history between these two. They are probably, with Charlotte, the best in the Raw Women's division. Aaron, who are we thinking here? Becky, is she going to lose? Or
No, I think it's definitely going to be Becky. I think this is one of those things where they were like, okay, we need to give something that makes sense for Becky right now. Hey, let's put her against Asuka, someone she's never beaten.
Yeah.
You could kind of sell
have a
that.
story? Yeah.
Right, exactly. I think Becky will prevail here. She's going to hold the title until WrestleMania now. What happens at WrestleMania is to be determined, obviously, but she's one of those title holders that I can't see losing the belt until WrestleMania. So, just plain simple, I'm going to go with
Keep
Becky.
your eye on Kairi Sane here. Just saying.
Yeah.
Becky, what are we thinking?
I'm going to go with Becky as well. I think Asuka's got her chips in, with the mist at the contract signing.
Looking strong.
The spots in the December pay-per-view. What was TLC, yep. So I'm going to go with Becky, and I think, like Aaron said, I think they're going to keep the title on her. And then at WrestleMania, it could be
very interesting.
Yeah, you'll see.
You never know.
We might see with who we pick in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That could come into play. So
Yep.
you're going with Becky as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Asuka won because Asuka has proven that she can be a champion. Hell, she's a champion right now. She's women's tag champion. But I'm not going to say she's going to win. I think Becky should win because a Becky match against whoever could potentially win the Royal Rumble sells more than an Asuka match with someone, unless the person winning the Women's Royal Rumble was like Io Shirai or something where you can promote that. But I'm going to go with Becky Lynch to retain here. We have one more match until the actual Royal Rumble matches, and this one seems relatively easy. And then again, we've seen crazier things. The Universal Championship is on the line as The Fiend Bray Wyatt takes on Daniel Bryan. Tucky, is there an upset happening here at the Royal Rumble?
Not at the Royal Rumble. I actually typed in the Fiend for all three of us already. So
Smart.
I don't see how you're heading into the biggest show of the year, into WrestleMania, and you'll have Daniel Bryan win. Dumber things have happened. WWE don't put it past them, but I'm going with The Fiend.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine this is pretty self-explanatory for everybody. I can't see, like I said with Becky Lynch, I don't see The Fiend losing or winning, losing, whatever, until WrestleMania. My question is, I mean, I obviously think The Fiend's going to win, but I want to see in this match whether this prolongs until WrestleMania.
It could.
Or
it could.
They just end it here on out.
Depends who wins.
Because, I mean, this is definitely something I could see prolonging until WrestleMania because obviously Daniel Bryan and
history,
quote-unquote Bray Wyatt have that history. And I think Daniel Bryan, I mean, I love Daniel Bryan. I'm so glad he's
one of
back.
the best wrestlers of the past decade.
And him and The Fiend could have something very interesting going on. So this is something they could build until WrestleMania. It could be fantastic.
They sure as hell might.
They might. So that's what I'm looking for in this match. I'm going to see if The Fiend wins convincingly and there's really nothing to it, then okay, they're going to go a different direction. But this is definitely something I could see prolonging until WrestleMania. But obviously right now you're going to go with The Fiend.
I think there's a chance that The Fiend could win this match and Daniel Bryan could still go on and maybe win the Royal Rumble. Because that's how Daniel Bryan could stay involved in this feud. He gets back at another chance with The Fiend by winning the Rumble. Daniel Bryan, if he wins the Rumble, are you mad?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Daniel Bryan's beaten Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista in the same night.
People forget that.
Awesome.
WrestleMania
Total
30.
caveat again.
Some people didn't know that.
Amazing.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Total, I mean, like just
Tangent.
top 5 run of all time.
Yeah, his
The
yes movement became
amazing. I mean,
a
that
thing.
was the true underdog story, and WWE did probably one of the
They
best
pivoted.
jobs they ever did building that.
The main event was supposed to be Batista and Randy Orton,
Yep.
and the movement with Daniel Bryan was just so strong that they forced him into it. He had a play-in match at the beginning of the show against Triple H, beat Triple H to get into the triple threat, ended up beating Batista
Gets
and
carted
Randy Orton.
off, gets off the cart, gets back in there, and submits Batista for the championship.
How have you not seen this?
I
Not
probably
to
will
mention it was
after
for-
tonight.
Homework.
Yep.
Not to mention for both titles.
Yeah.
The heavyweight championship
And the
the
WWE.
WWE championship was a combined champion. Confetti coming out in WrestleMania. That was a
that
moment you
30?
never forget.
That was 30, right? Because that's when The Undertaker beat the streak.
What WrestleMania?
Or lost
yeah.
the streak. 30 or 32. It's got to be 30.
Was it the same?
I think it was the same one.
The streak was
Yeah.
beat?
It was the same one because they did the streak match, and then we went to...
Yeah, Daniel Bryan, I forget, was retired.
It was a big WrestleMania, that's for sure. That was one of the better ones. So we're all going with The Fiend to beat Daniel Bryan, which then takes us... Wait, are you about to say something, Tucker? No.
No.
Who's
Our
writing it
picks
down?
as of right now hang on Bailey and Lacey.
Well, we
They're
got
about
two...
to change here, I think.
This is where things might differ. The big matches, the Royal Rumble matches, we'll start with the Women's Royal Rumble. The confirmed entrants go as this, and this is as of today, January 23rd. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, and Sarah Logan. That's 4 out of 30.
That's
That's it.
oh.
That's all I need.
So who are you picking on those 4? So obviously there's going to be the veterans, the legends. I'm sure Trish or Lita, they'll all be there.
Yeah.
There might be a lot of NXT women because we know how stacked the NXT women's division is.
Yeah.
But can any of those people actually win? What are you guys thinking here? Who's going to come out the last woman standing?
All right, if you're asking me, so
I wasn't.
WrestleMania is going to mark 1-year title reign for Becky Lynch,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, she never dropped it.
Yeah,
right?
maybe not to the day, but a
Yeah.
You get the point.
A schedule.
Mania to
right.
Mania.
In my opinion, she's going to drop it at WrestleMania because I think that is the stage. Because I mean, she might be the hottest wrestler, male or female, going in
Any company.
any company.
Yeah.
So I think you need a big stage for her to drop it. She's going to have to drop it, and I think it's going to be WrestleMania. So my pick, and I know this might be shared by Kyle, I'm going to go Ronda Rousey. Gets her revenge after she lost last year at WrestleMania.
Shoulder was up. Their story.
There's only maybe a couple people where you could really say, hey, they could beat Becky Lynch for the championship. I don't see Charlotte getting
Charlotte
involved.
could win.
She could.
She's probably
She
like
could.
third.
She would make sense, and I wouldn't hate it because I think she's the GOAT. But I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go out there, and I'm gonna say Ronda Rousey comes back, wins the Royal Rumble, and takes down Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. That's the story I see happening. So that's why I'm going.
Give me
Ronda.
a female dark horse. Like it's got to be a good dark
Sasha.
horse. Okay, that's fair.
Sasha.
Okay.
I think. I mean, she's been accredited with 4 championships.
Yeah.
And I mean, she has
Short
been out
reigns.
for maybe a few years. They are short, and that was her complaint. But she's won. But I just don't see the SmackDown Women's Championship getting involved here. I think this is all about
Raw.
the Raw Women's Championship and Becky Lynch. That's why I'm going to go with Ronda.
Tucky, first give me your long shot. Give me a dark horse woman that can maybe win this Rumble.
I kind of like Shayna Baszler.
As a dark horse or your pick?
Not as my pick.
Okay.
Good one.
I kind of out of nowhere a surprise, just given what she's done, and now that she doesn't have the title. So I do have a dark horse column for us as well.
Oh, okay.
We can adjust half points or double.
I don't know
points
if
or
I would
something.
consider that a dark horse.
That.
I think you can do better.
I guess
I think you can do better.
My main pick.
Oh,
That's really the only one.
I think that's the only reason I wasn't calling it a dark horse. Because spoiler alert.
Is that your pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
I'll have reasonings. Don't worry. You can go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm up in the air a little bit. There's, I could see Sasha winning it. Charlotte Flair wouldn't surprise me. It would bug me, but
I just think with the women's division, it's very hard to have a dark horse because I think they have their core.
Oh, I think I have a couple.
And okay, I know where you're thinking about going.
I don't think you do. I don't think either of you do. Nia Jax.
No, I thought about her because
is that your dark horse?
That's my dark horse. Why are nobody's talking about her? She was on this injury, the ACL injury.
About her, I was.
They've given her the belt before. She had a match with Ronda Rousey
That's
at
true.
Money in the Bank.
And she's huge.
She could win a Rumble. Like
Literally.
that's,
No, she could.
You could sell that.
She could eliminate like everybody.
She could win the men's Royal Rumble. I won't go
Okay,
there.
well,
But yeah, Nia Jax would be my dark horse.
So
Who's your dark
they're
horse?
that's a really good
this
one.
is not the women's Royal Rumble anymore. This is just Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah,
true.
about that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go with Shayna to win it, and my dark horse will be. Go. Give me your regular
They
one.
Liv Morgan. That's a good dark horse. She's hot. Or
She-
Ruby Riott. We haven't seen her in a while.
Too far.
Ooh.
She's good. Rhea Ripley.
No, I don't
Those are
think
good
Rhea
dark
will win
horses.
it.
These
I'll-
are named Io
I'll go-
Shirai. What's she doing?
Oh,
What's
come
Io
on.
doing in
Oh,
NXT?
come on.
What's Io doing?
No,
Dark horse?
I'll type in
Yes.
Liv Morgan because I think she's very talented.
What about Lana?
Talented with the wedding? Is that what we're referring to?
I guess.
How she crashed
Are
the
we
wedding?
sleeping on Lana?
Yeah, we are. Very,
I don't think. I think we know exactly.
I think Bobby Lashley's sleeping on Lana, if you know what I mean. But
Under, over, next to,
all the above.
beyond, below.
Whoa.
my dark horse is Nia Jax. I explained why. My pick is Shayna Baszler because, there's history there. The main event of Survivor Series was Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Shayna Baszler, and Shayna Baszler came out on top over Becky Lynch and Bayley. Shayna Baszler is done in NXT. There's nothing left for her. She got eliminated from the Battle Royal for number one contendership by Shotzi Blackheart. Shotzi Blackheart. Tell me 5 people that actually know that name.
Shotzi or Shotsky?
Shotzi. Shotzi.
No, you just sound like you're at the
Sounds
pub
like
right now.
a disgusting mixed drink.
I'll take a Shotsky,
And you
please.
can find that at Set 'em Up. Not a sponsor. But yeah, I'm going to go with Shayna Baszler. I think she has the capabilities to main event a WrestleMania. She's like in her 40s as well, so we don't have a lot of time to get the ball rolling. She's
older than
I don't
you
want to say
think.
she's old because she's not, but she's older than most of the talent. So if you want to get the most out of Shayna Baszler before her time is done, I say you do it now. Strike while the iron's hot.
39, yep.
Oh man,
39 years old.
So here's my thought process here.
Sure.
So I would say Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are your 2 favorites. Let's say whoever wins, because you see them both feuding UFC backgrounds. You could see.
If anything, they'd be together.
You think?
If anything, they'd probably build a 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen kind of feud going
Yeah.
into it. But I don't want
Yeah.
it to be with Marina Shafiri and the tall, lanky one. It's
Jessamine Duke.
gross. But yeah, Shayna Baszler seems like the most realistic pick.
If you need to jumpstart a career like you said, just because of how old she is, and then that makes sense. But we'll see. It's gonna be interesting.
Shayna Baszler for me. Shayna Baszler for
Tucky.
And Ronda Rousey, who I don't hate that pick because I'm a big Ronda Rousey fan. The men's Royal Rumble, this is where things are going to get even more interesting, I believe. The confirmed entrants as of today, Brock Lesnar at number 1. Then we got Roman Reigns, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, fuck that guy, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Elias, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Otis, Tucky, Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Braun Strowman, Shinsuke
Moxley.
Nakamura, Seth Rollins, Moxley, Kevin Owens, and Samoa Joe. Fellas, first question, because this is we gotta dive into this.
Okay.
Surprise entrance. How many are we expecting here?
7. No,
Wow,
5.
Too much.
I think 5 might be too much.
Too much. You see,
Well, NXT is considered a surprise.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend. NXT.
We'll see maybe
surprise.
one legend.
I'm going to say 3. I think you get one name, you're like, okay, wow, that's something. And then I think you get your random legend and then your NXT person. You can't, from my experience of watching so many Royal Rumbles.
This guy's an expert, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Don't fuck with him.
You can't put your
I have never
expectations to the
tried
roof. You really you can't expect all these things to happen.
Yeah.
Just because they don't.
Last year we had one legend. It was Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, yeah.
They're really,
Huge.
and this is smart. You get away from that. I know the nostalgia of it, but it's a waste of an
I
entrance.
don't like legends. Don't like it.
It was cool when Bubba Ray Dudley came out a couple years ago. I didn't like the Jeff Jarrett thing.
Unless
No.
Stone Cold The Rock are
Yeah.
coming out, I'm going to hard pass. on the
I think
legend.
they are kind of dwindling away from that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with 2 surprises.
Okay.
Names that are being thrown around. What are the odds we see Edge?
I think that's the highest of the surprises.
Yeah, based on talk, yeah.
I would say
agree.
that's the highest of the surprises because it just makes sense if he were to show up.
I know we never talked about this, but I think there's a chance we could see Paige in the Women's Royal Rumble. I
Really?
think because you know how they go about their process. They could clear guys. They've done it with Ciampa. They've done it with
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan.
They could.
Don't sleep on Paige showing up. And she could
I
win
mean-
it if she was there because Paige is very credible.
But her retirement was just, how long was that? It wasn't.
2 years ago.
Was it really?
It's been
that
about
long
2
ago?
years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Because it was like when you started watching.
Yeah.
So
I
keep
don't
an
know.
eye on Paige. What are the odds we see? Give me a percentage on CM Punk.
2%.
Really, only 2%.
0%.
Yeah.
You're not one of those guys that's buying in.
Nope.
No.
Even though he's been on
Zero.
backstage, he's talking about the
Zero.
Royal Rumble.
0.
We're talking about the Royal Rumble, but we're sure shit not going to be in it.
0.
Who has better odds showing up at the Royal Rumble, Aaron Oros or CM Punk?
Me.
Aaron Oros. He could get it. It's very feasible for him to go buy a ticket, get in the
Yep.
building.
Get plowed
The
over
road.
by
Yeah.
security.
Yeah.
CM Punk's not showing up.
There is a 25% chance CM Punk shows up in this Royal Rumble.
25.
You're
Yes.
insane.
I think you guys are way too low.
not happening.
His foot's in the door now. It's in the door.
You're falling into the WWE trap because everybody who has
Okay,
followed wrestling
10%.
for so long is buying into the thought of CM Punk being in the Royal Rumble. They'll purchase the pay-per-view or either have WWE Network and tune in.
You can get it for free for the first month,
He's
and then
not showing up.
$9.99 after that.
He's,
Oh, yeah?
he's not showing up. It's not happening.
NXT superstars. How many are we seeing here, and what kind of guys are we expecting here?
I would say Finn.
That makes sense.
Um,
Somebody said, "What if Finn comes back, wins the Rumble, Demon versus the Fiend at WrestleMania? That sells."
It does. I could see that. I'd be fine with that.
Doc, what do you think?
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I'd
Finn,
be all right with that.
you think Finn?
Finn. You would think one of either Ciampa or Johnny Gargano is going to be
DIY will be back on Saturday.
you think one of them.
Okay.
They've been in NXT for so long. They've been killing it in NXT. You think one of them show up? I know people are throwing Keith Lee out there. I'm going to say no.
Just because he won the
Right.
Spoiler
And
alert.
If you put it in, if you put him in, he's got to be.
He would have a
They would
chance.
have to book him strong.
Yeah.
He would have a
They
chance to win the
book him
Rumble.
strong.
Yeah.
So you're saying 2, maybe 2 NXT guys?
Yes, I'm going to go 2.
Tucky, who you expecting here?
I could see. Well, I would like to see Matt Riddle.
I agree.
I like
That'd be a
him.
good one.
I think he could
I
get
like
in
that.
and bounce around.
Give us a Matt Riddle, Brock Lesnar
yes.
interaction.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
Or if Goldberg's in the Rumble somehow, have Matt Riddle and Goldberg set up a match because we
Brock-
know they won it.
Legend.
That could be Goldberg still is ready to go.
What I want to see is Brock eliminates like the first 4 people, and then Matt Riddle comes out, and then
Bro.
and then it's just like, okay, those 2 alone in the ring together.
Oh, the
was
crowd
doing
would be
animosity.
so hyped.
I was doing the
yeah.
bro
I mean, come
thing
on.
in the drive-through at Dunkin' Donuts the other day.
I fucking love Matt Riddle. We'll get into that in the
it's awesome.
NXT talk. So how many did you say you think?
2 or 3. I think Matt
That's
Riddle.
safe.
I'd like to
I'm
see
gonna
Matt
say
Riddle.
2 NXT, 1 call him legend, 1 surprise. Let's say that.
Yeah, so I'm
I
at
think you're looking at 3 because the roster's so big. You only have
There's already
30 spots.
23 announced.
Exactly.
There's still some names out there that you would
Right.
kind of expect to be in the Rumble that
Right.
haven't announced. So
Yeah.
I think we'll see Matt Riddle. I did think we would see Keith Lee, but he just won the North American Championship, so I'm counting him out. Maybe Adam Cole shows up. He's shown up in a Rumble before.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt for him to get thrown
No.
out of the ring.
Yeah.
He's Adam Cole, baby. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are guys to watch for sure. Now let's get to the picks here. We had those 23 names. Is it anybody in those 23, or do you see someone that's going to be a surprise winning the Royal Rumble? Tucky, I'm going to let you go first here. This one seems up for grabs.
It is.
Yeah, I think mine is kind of cliche. I like Drew McIntyre.
Good pick.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I hope it happens.
I'm ready. I think many people are. So he's actually my pick to win. Drew McIntyre versus Brock. I don't know that would be a crazy thrilling match because he's a big, but I think you need a dude to win the Royal Rumble. I don't see how a crafty little guy,
Like a Ricochet.
You know, I like Ricochet.
How about that promo on Monday?
Ugh, don't get me started. It's like stale bread.
Okay, Tuck.
I'm going with Drew McIntyre.
Okay, what's your dark horse men's?
You guys give me your main picks, and then I'll
Okay,
I'll
that's
take
fair.
a
We'll
dark
go
horse.
there.
We'll go to dark horse after.
So here's my analysis here.
Here's his analysis.
Here we go. So
Nerd.
I don't think Brock wins the Royal Rumble. Therefore, I think somebody eliminates him. Therefore, I don't see somebody from Raw winning the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Because whoever eliminates Brock, I think they're going to turn into a feud that
Cain
ultimately ends at
Velasquez.
WrestleMania.
Cain Velasquez.
Shut up. That would be the most WWE move ever, which I
Probably
could see,
going to happen.
Which is probably going to happen, but
We're going to hate it.
I'm giving WWE the benefit of the doubt here.
Does
That
he
they're
pop-
not going to do
does
something
he pop up in the Royal
as dumb as
the
that.
Rumble?
No, he's in the Royal Rumble.
Cain Velasquez
Yes.
is in the
Yeah,
Royal.
Well,
he-
it's not confirmed.
But he said he was going to be in the Royal. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble.
What about Tyson Fury? Where's he at?
What about Tyson Kidd?
No, Tyson Fury has the
Fuck.
biggest. Tyson Fury has the biggest fight of his life
Check
in
out our
February,
YouTube.
so he will not show up. I
Right.
can guarantee that.
Go on with your expert analysis.
So there, I think somebody from SmackDown is going to win. But wait a minute, this person isn't in any brand. I'm going to go with Edge.
Whoa!
Whoa! Hey! Whoa!
On this day!
So, if the rumors are true that he's been cleared,
It's a tough pick.
I guarantee that he's wanting to get back. So you're thinking of somebody that could face the Fiend, or they could turn it to a triple threat. I personally believe that the Daniel Bryan angle is going to roll into WrestleMania. I think it's going to end up being a triple threat. Just because I can't see anybody from Raw winning. I can't. I just think that Brock's going to get eliminated during the Royal Rumble, and he's going to feud with whoever it is that's going to be the big surprise. Whoever eliminates Brock, I think, is going to be the big surprise. In my opinion, it should be John Cena, and John Cena breaks Ric Flair's championship title record. It would be the perfect scenario there because that's a credible person. Obviously, beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, so I think it's gonna. And Edge can do his rated R superstar, he's crazy theme. I mean, I could be totally wrong, and I probably am totally wrong because he probably won't even show up. But I'm gonna go with Edge. I'm gonna go with it. Face the Fiend and Daniel Bryan. That's the triple threat at WrestleMania. Book it.
Guys, I got a lot of names.
I just saw some stuff popping up.
Got
there.
a lot of names, and I wanted to write it down so I don't forget. There's about 6 or 7 guys I could see winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people winning the Royal Rumble that makes a lot of sense. Guys like Brock Lesnar. Guys like Roman Reigns. Randall Keith Orton. Why aren't we talking about Randy Orton? Randy Orton is a credible enough guy to go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That sells.
No, I know it does. That would be a Vince McMahon
Drew
job.
McIntyre is a credible pick,
Let's see
as
it.
is
Oh, I
John
know. Where
Cena,
you going
as
with
is Edge,
Where you
as
going?
is CM Punk. My pick for the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble match is Roman Reigns, the big dog.
Whatever.
It's time to get the man back into the main event of WrestleMania. He's already main evented 4 or 5. Why not make it 6? You know it'll be a good match. Somebody credible enough needs to beat the Fiend. I think Roman Reigns is credible
Wow,
enough.
really?
I do. I think
he is.
I think he would win that match if they were to have it. So I'm going to take Roman Reigns. I think it's the safest pick. But I really think there is still a chance that Brock Lesnar can win this Royal Rumble. And I have a theory.
Oh, I love this theory. This may be the best theory that Kyle's ever
Are you
come
ready?
up with in his entire life.
Tuck, are you ready?
This is a phenomenal theory. Lay it on him.
All right, so let's say Brock...
Lay it on
Paul,
him.
say something stupid.
This is good.
So say Brock Lesnar goes the distance and he wins the Royal Rumble. He can't face himself. He's going to have to go after The Fiend, right?
Yes.
Or is he going after Bray Wyatt? We have two sides of The Fiend's character. There's Bray Wyatt, who we saw wrestle The Miz. There's The Fiend's character. What if that match happens versus Bray Wyatt or The Fiend?
Triple threat: Brock Lesnar, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend.
No, that's not where I'm going.
Okay,
No,
all right.
not going there.
Say The Fiend beats Brock Lesnar. Now The Fiend has two belts. The Fiend gives one of those belts to Bray Wyatt because it's the same person. Bray Wyatt could lose that title after WrestleMania to somebody because it's Bray, not The Fiend. I could totally see them having Lesnar win the Royal Rumble, lose to The Fiend. The Fiend's holding two belts. One's for Bray Wyatt, one's for The Fiend. And he works on both shows as separate characters.
Love it.
Wow.
Love it. Bipolar personality.
It's deep character work.
Love it.
It's a lot of storytelling involving
Love
Bray
it.
Wyatt the human.
Well, and they
Love it.
They love to put a rocket on a guy. Whoever's the guy is the guy.
It's not going to be a great match because I don't think the Lesnar and the Fiend could have a good match.
No.
It would be
no.
if F5s and mandible claws.
They would have to. They would have to get weird with it. It might be no disqualification, or they would have to get really weird with it.
That's the only way I could see Brock Lesnar winning. That's a theory I'm putting out
Love
there in the
theory,
world.
though. Love it.
It makes sense. But Roman Reigns is my pick. Dark Horse, Tucky. Who are you thinking here?
I still have nothing. I would like Aaron Oros to go next.
Get him, Aaron.
Okay, so we want to go at Dark Horse. So it just depends on what I think happens. So if you want to go real Dark Horse here, just be by the character. I can't see them putting it on Aleister Black though. I love.
Oh,
Aleister
I was
Black.
going to say that.
I love him, and I think his character, his dark character against
Could
the
work.
Fiend, would be awesome. I just can't see WWE pulling the trigger. I just can't. So if you're going to tell me sort of what I think is a more realistic dark horse, I think Drew McIntyre is more of a dark horse than a favorite. I love Drew McIntyre, and I think slowly by just seeing his character, the way he's getting more involved with
Organically
the crowd,
a babyface now.
he's not but he's almost like an Owens, where it's like, or like how Stone Cold was. It's like he's not a baby face, but he's a rebel, someone, or it's more of just like, hey, I'm not bad, but I'm also not good. I just sit in the middle. Obviously, I would say Drew McIntyre is way more of a dark horse than you could consider him a favorite. Because I know he is a favorite. He's like a number 2 favorite right now.
Sure, yeah, on odds.
I can't see that. But he'd be my dark horse.
Tuck, does that help you with your thinking, or do you want me to do mine?
You can go ahead and do yours. I'm still super
okay.
up in the
I
air.
like the Aleister Black one, but I'm not going to take it.
They won't do it.
My dark horse, because I could see him winning if he was there. This involves him being there.
Oh,
John Cena. John Cena
agree.
makes sense facing Brock Lesnar. John Cena's the type of guy that tweets out that stuff and says he's not returning to return.
Of course.
Yeah.
He said he's focusing on the movies. I don't buy it. If he shows up, he could win the Rumble. So if you're looking for a long shot and you do betting, because I know there's ways you can bet on the Royal Rumble, John Cena's a good long shot.
I'll take one further. He shows up, he's winning.
Yeah.
If he shows up, he's winning.
Yeah.
And I would have zero problem with it. Zero. I think him winning is, 17th?
Yeah.
At WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar, done. Fine with it.
Tucky.
I don't like any of these just
So where are we
other
going?
scenarios.
Where are we going here?
You should just say CM Punk. Just be that guy.
I'm not going to be that guy.
Be the Kyle guy who thinks he actually has a somewhat of a respectable chance of showing up.
He does.
He's zero.
Randy
Won't
would be a
do it.
dark horse.
Well, CM Punk will be there.
Seth Rollins a dark horse.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I'm gonna go with
That's
that.
fine. I like it.
I don't believe in
Actually,
it.
I don't like it. I don't like it. With
Tell us how you really feel, asshole.
So if you're telling me Rollins shows up against WrestleMania against Brock, because he would face Brock, he's beaten him 2 times in a row.
Oh, everybody would
It'd
hate
be
it.
the most predictable match of all time. There's no way.
He's
and I
beaten
mean,
Brock.
no way they would let Rollins beat Brock for a 3rd time. So then whatever. I mean, go.
All right. So run down your
fine.
Rumble pick
I don't-
again, the
I don't mind
men's.
that pick, though.
Men's, Tucky.
Drew McIntyre.
Aaron. Edge. Roman Reigns. So there it is, our 2020 Royal Rumble preview and prediction. Tucky, how long did that go for? The show's not over. I know.
The
just
the
that
prediction
part of the
portion,
show.
50 minutes.
Okay, so we'll run through this back half here, the Wednesday Night Wars, relatively quickly. We always do this, NXT versus AEW. And if you're listening out there, and I want to really know if you are listening to the AEW part, because if you're not interested in hearing our thoughts on Dynamite, and maybe some of you are only tuning in for the Dynamite talk, let us know, because feedback would help us, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get into NXT here first. Aaron probably didn't watch most of either show, but he has an idea of what's going on. So the Dusty Rhodes Classic semifinals was the grizzled young veterans taking on the champions, the Undisputed Era. It wasn't a bad back-and-forth match here. The storytelling, though, was really late in the match when Imperium distracted Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and then the grizzled young veterans would end up picking up this upset. But honestly, I've been watching NXT now and a little bit of NXT UK. I kind of saw this distraction coming with Imperium because we had that match Saturday at Worlds Collide. But what were your thoughts on this, Tucky? The Imperium distracting the Undisputed Era, and the grizzled young veterans are now in the finals.
Yeah, I thought it was nice to not have such a predictable outcome. You would think going into it that the Undisputed Era would take it. I'm not too familiar with the grizzled young veterans.
Yeah.
I thought they looked good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
They
Not
picked up
blown
a
away,
win
but yeah.
over the Time Travelers, right? That was their name. And now Undisputed Era. Those are two really big wins in the NXT landscape. But it wasn't a bad match. What did you think about the match? I mean, it wasn't like one of the Undisputed Era's best.
Firm.
Yeah.
Firm, you know.
Good tag team wrestling to kick off the show. Nothing spectacular. After that, Toni Storm faced off against Io Shirai. Of course, I was excited for this. I'm big Toni Storm guy.
Yeah.
Big Io Shirai guy.
Yeah.
So going into it, I mean, I was excited. What do you think about this one?
I thought it was a good one. I like the more I can get to know Toni Storm, the better for me. And I thought it was okay. Nothing too much to write home about, but I am ready to watch Toni Storm a little bit more.
Yeah, you can watch Toni Storm this Saturday at Worlds Collide. She's facing off against Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley ended up getting involved somehow in this matchup because Toni Storm was going for her finish, trying to do a suicide dive, but Bianca Belair would get involved. Bianca Belair is the number one contender as she won that Battle Royal a couple weeks ago. She would attack Toni Storm, which causes a DQ. All the women get involved. Rhea Ripley shows up, and they all scrap. But the last woman standing, Tuck, is Toni Storm with the Women's Championship. Is there any way that Toni Storm's walking out champion?
No. There's more of a chance that CM Punk returns for the Royal Rumble.
I would actually agree with that.
Aaron, thoughts on Toni Storm?
I mean,
Wrestling.
Honest thoughts? Oh.
Easy boy.
The likelihood. I mean, I totally agree with Tuck. There's no way. I mean, Rhea Ripley is on fire.
Yeah,
and that's why they obviously gave her the belt, and she is on fire. There's no way she loses. I don't care who she's against. There's no way she's losing. But Toni Storm, I'll keep my
easy on the eyes. Easy on the eyes. I guess we could say
easy.
that. So that one ended in a DQ. Is basically just building towards Worlds Collide. That is Saturday. I might have to tune in. Are you going to tune in to Worlds Collide?
Yeah. I don't know that how it's going to work. Is it in the evening? Probably.
I think so.
Yeah. I'm going to have to miss it, but I do want to catch it for sure.
Yeah. After that, we get Finn Balor in a squash match against Joaquin Wilde. Finn Balor will be fighting at NXT Worlds Collide, which is why I believe they had this squash. Nothing to really say about the match. And when I'm watching this, I'm like, what are we doing with Finn Balor in NXT right now?
My same question that I had. I thought when Finn Balor came back that he would get a much bigger push, but he hasn't really done it for me. Aaron?
No, I agree. That's a huge question. I mean, he was the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was the first Universal Champion until he tore his labrum. And then they put him down in NXT, and it's just like, what are we doing with him? I mean, turning him heel, I thought was the right move.
Uh-huh.
I know Kyle and I have talked about that before. Turning him heel was awesome, and then his interaction with AJ Styles in the club was, I mean, the nostalgia factor there was huge. But like, what are we really doing here? I mean, this is a big name. I mean, he's a big name.
He is.
He's a credible guy.
Universal
NXT
champion, the very first Universal
champion. So it's like, what are we doing here? I mean, obviously he's got his thing going on with Johnny Gargano, which is fine. I mean,
which will be good.
Yeah,
would be
sure.
fantastic. I mean, but I mean, after that, I mean, like, what are we doing here? I mean, you don't see any clear path for Finn Balor right now. Unless he beats Johnny Gargano, then but heel with Adam Cole for the championship.
Yeah, that's just weird.
It just doesn't make sense. So, really, I'm just curious to see where they go with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like they don't know what to do with him.
And if he did show up in the Rumble, I mean, maybe he's back on the quote-unquote main roster. Who knows? Yeah. But just a squash match there. After that, we get Shayna Baszler versus Shotzi Blackheart. Blackheart was the one that eliminated Baszler in last week's Battle Royal, which is why they virtually had this match. Tuck, thoughts on Shotzi Blackheart?
Haven't seen enough about her to kind of have a super strong opinion.
It's an interesting persona that she's portraying.
It's definitely different, and they have booked her strong. So I do look forward to seeing her get some more action.
It's pretty surprising. She was the one to eliminate Shayna Baszler from the Battle Royal.
Right. Yeah,
they obviously see something in her, and they gave her first match on NXT TV with Shayna Baszler. Wasn't a bad one. She got to showcase her offense, and like I said, we got to see a little bit of her personality. Her entrance was very interesting. She's got a lot of energy. She's got the green hair. There might be something there, but not enough to beat Shayna right now. Next time you see Shayna Baszler might be in the Women's Royal Rumble match. So that's that from NXT. After that, we would get a very good tag team match between the Broserweights, which is Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, versus Imperium. This match was all over the place, and I say that in a good way. Matt Riddle has one of the best hot tags in wrestling right now. When he gets that hot tag in tag team matches, it's fun to watch, Tuck.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. A lot of good back and forth. The Bruiserweight and Matt Riddle being a very solid tag team was nice to see.
Imperium's pretty solid too.
They are. They're great. I was expecting them to be good, but the chemistry between Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne really got me going.
Yeah. Have you seen any of this, the Broserweights, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle together?
I mean, a little bit of it, and I like both. I do like Pete Dunne. I obviously...
He's a badass.
No, yeah, he is, and both have physical styles, and it's always very difficult to put two people together that have never been together before, and for them to connect and have the chemistry and stuff.
That they're doing it well.
Exactly, and I think that's just a testament to those two guys and how good they actually are. So.
They do this every year too in the Dusty Classic. Last year, Ricochet and Aleister Black won it. Awesome. They were just thrown together. They worked. Yeah. Samoa Joe, I believe, was with Finn when they won it.
Oh.
NXT loves to do this for the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and the Broserweights might be the best combo they put together. I never thought you'd put a little 420 guy, muscle man, with the Bruiserweight and it would work.
Yeah. It is a weird combo.
Did you catch after the match?
Yeah, the talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You brought up a joint?
Yeah, it was nice.
He's like, once you said joint, man, I kind of just spaced out after that.
And he said, well, you were up in the, Pete Dunne, while you were up in the clouds, So it's funny. It does give Pete Dunne a little bit of a personality. I think Matt Riddle brings that out in him a little bit too. So,
yeah, the Broserweights will advance to face the grizzled young veterans, which will be next week. They're not doing that at Worlds Collide. Kind of an interesting decision there.
Got to keep the ratings wars going on Wednesdays.
That's true, but the ratings wars would come into play here in the main event. Roderick Strong, the North American champion at the time, versus Keith Lee. Keith Lee was coming into this match with all the momentum, all the hype, ever since Survivor Series when he went toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns. He had a killer match at War Games. I think what really stood out to me, though, in this match from a wrestling standpoint was how Roderick Strong was attacking the ankle of Keith Lee. It was good wrestling psychology as the heel kind of just targets one. The little guy going after the big guy, you kind of got to chop him down a little bit. Credit to Roderick Strong there, but there was just no stopping Keith Lee tonight. There was no way. He tried his heart out, but he couldn't come over the Limitless one. Keith Lee's a new North American champion, Tuck.
Yeah, and the thing that was nice was it did not turn into one of those super long false finish matches. There were false finishes, obviously, but it didn't turn into every 2 minutes there's a very close, kick out. And I liked that they they brought Keith Lee in with this ankle job, because it would have made it an acceptable reason for Roderick Strong to win, but it makes him look even stronger because he overcame with the ankle being a detriment too.
I know we brought this up last week. We said that the North American Championship might not be enough for Keith Lee. Are you still okay with this decision?
I am. I'm just excited that he won, yeah.
Aaron, what do you think about Keith Lee winning the North American Championship?
NXT, and they'll admit this, like NXT is like, it's like a minor league system. It's just like in baseball. The AAA,
Developmental.
The whole point is to turn guys that have potential and turn them into the ability to be stars. And Keith Lee, like you guys have reiterated,
star
on fire. I mean, the guy has been on fire. So, I mean, you could probably have predicted that this was going to happen. And I mean, like you guys have said, like, is the North American title, is that enough? Yes, he needs something.
Yeah,
I think you need
while
something
he's this hot
to attach to him while he's on a roll that you can give him a little bit of credibility.
Kind of like the situation Rhea Ripley was in.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. She was on fire. You had to put. I mean, when it comes to WWE, if you put a belt on anybody, regardless of what the belt is, it adds credibility.
Of course,
and that's what I think.
It's not a toy.
No, it's not, and that's what they need to do here.
The tag titles might be a little bit of a toy on the main roster.
Yeah. We could
but
talk about that another time, but
we could.
But I think this made sense. Keith Lee's on fire, and so I think having him beat Roderick Strong, which, I mean, the Undisputed Era has been unstoppable.
Yeah, now the Undisputed Era doesn't hold all the men's gold, and the women's championships are no longer going to have the moniker of women's. It's just NXT champion. So Rhea Ripley's the NXT champion, and and that so on and so forth. So Becky Lynch is the Raw champion. Tuck, what do you think about that? Just dropping the whole... I mean, I get the whole dropping the women's thing, like they're equals, but what are you thinking here?
Yeah. Yep. That's about all I got. It's just...
You don't like it.
I don't know that it makes that title feel stronger. Becky Lynch commented that the next step would be, that calling it the women's title makes it something other, and it does make it something different, and I do think it's something special.
A different division.
It is.
It's a man-woman. It's man versus woman.
Hey, it's 2020. We don't want to cross the man and the woman.
I know.
They're different, clearly.
So what
logically.
Yeah, so can a guy challenge, Rhea Ripley for
if we get to the intergender wrestling,
champion?
maybe.
Yeah, can Brock challenge Becky Lynch for a title?
I guess so.
Becky Lynch wins.
And I like where the women's division is at. It's strong.
Never been better.
It's good wrestling. So I am by no means trying to denigrate the women's division or anything like that, but I don't know why. So if you have two NXT champions?
Yes.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It's just, I don't know.
You're going to have two women's champions with, at least they have brands. Like you could say the Raw champion and the SmackDown champion.
But WWE has been at the forefront of
pioneering the
women's
revolution.
Exactly. And,
which is good.
And they've done a phenomenal job. It's literally the only difference in the title is distinguishing a man from a woman, which are obviously depending on who you ask, I guess.
Come on now.
Two different
That's the toughest
things.
part about talking about it.
But
without sounding,
But it's like, really? I think it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's like, you're a women's NXT champion. There's nothing in that statement
devaluing it.
Yeah, devalues or degrades you.
No, I agree.
You are the top of the women's division. You're a woman.
I gotta get this fart out. Hold on. There we go.
I don't think we caught it. You could have let it out.
No, I kind of wanted to let the audience know that we are human. We do fart,
and we're all in it together.
Yeah,
now.
we're all in this together.
Oh my god! But I just
I don't want to harp on this too much now.
I'm not, but it's confusing.
He's distraught.
But whatever. Go ahead.
Final remarks on that.
I'm done. I'm not upset about.
It's over.
Yeah. I'm indifferent about it.
Keith Lee is the new North American champion.
That's a great match.
Good for Keith Lee.
Yeah, and Roddy Strong was a good champion, as was Velveteen Dream before him.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of,
Velveteen's hurt.
Okay.
He could be at the Rumble. Odds we see Velveteen in the Rumble.
Oh man, you know what would be totally dope if he came out with CM Punk's song.
No, he's not like that kind of heel.
That would be so
No, he
dope.
needs to come out and have an interaction with R-Truth. I think that'd be hilarious.
I really
He's
enjoyed
just like
Odds,
shaking.
Odds are Truth comes out at 2, and it's just a show.
He's like, "Where's Paul Heyman?"
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was a good bit.
R-Truth
loved it.
It's hilarious.
It's having a phenomenal past couple of years.
He's like 43.
He looks
Older.
old. He does.
He's old.
He was
He's
on
got
After
old
the
eyes.
Bell with Corey Graves, and he was talking about throwing Paul Heyman over the ropes to win the Royal Rumble. He's like, Paul Heyman's in the Rumble. He goes, wait, that's Sunday? Just character work in interviews and
Yeah,
everything.
he's funny.
Hall of Famer.
Entertaining.
Hall of Famer. R-Truth.
Is he?
I think so.
Oh.
He's got some tag titles, U.S. title. He was in a feud with John Cena for the world title.
I mean, I've heard people tell me that Daniel Bryan's not a Hall of Famer. If Daniel Bryan's not a Hall of Famer, R-Truth's not a Hall of Famer.
I've never heard anyone say Daniel Bryan's not a Hall of Famer.
No, I've heard that
There's no way that's a tape.
that he hasn't won enough to be a Hall of Famer.
Gags is going to get into a Twitter fight.
Well, speaking of Twitter fights, AEW marks love coming at me if I mention anything about AEW in
Let's go on AEW.
We're going to go on AEW.
Here we
First
are.
off, thoughts on the venue on the cruise ship?
Cool. Once a year, different. Venue they sold out to capacity. The place was packed, so
cool.
we know we
It
can.
is cool.
They know
Jericho's
they can
the
fill
man.
up a boat.
I love Jericho.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah.
I've listened to interviews. They paid him a pretty penny to come on because they needed him to be the face, the staple of a new wrestling program, and he's awesome. I mean, Kyle and I have said this before, and I'm pretty sure I've said this on the show before. You can make a claim he's top 5 all time. He might be the number 1 guy right now in all of wrestling.
Who the hell just has a cruise ship and says, hey, we're having a live show?
Yeah, it's a Jericho cruise ship.
And it was, I like the venue. It felt very AEW. That makes sense.
Taking risks. They took a risk to do it. There were a lot of variables going into it with wind, weather, and the like.
Still went on relatively without a hitch.
Yeah, and it's just cool and different.
I like that.
They're doing things to spice it up weekly, so you're not going to get the same kind of run on TV. And I commend them for it. It could not have been easy.
There's a lot of
the
vocal
logistics.
fans, too. Like, they had to bleep out a lot of bad words. I heard that there was a boat that passed, another cruise ship, and they were saying, fuck that boat, and that's why they kept So that was pretty funny. But, yeah, very unique venue for this. They opened up with a tag team championship match between SCU!
Okay, I survived.
And Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Per usual, Tuck, AEW tag match, really good, very textbook. At one point, Adam Hangman Page sent Kazarian into the audience.
Yeah.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. The length I could have done a minute or two short.
It was
probably
like a half hour.
It was a long one, but it was a good match, and there was a payoff for enduring such a long match with Hangman and Omega taking the titles. But we talked about WWE getting flack for kind of thrown together tag teams getting titles, and then they put them on Kenny Omega and Hangman.
Not Hangman. Not necessarily thrown together because they were part of the Elite, but he's no
Right.
longer a part of the Elite. And it is a random pairing. Why wouldn't you put the Young Bucks in the situation like that? It's kind of like what you're getting flack about in the WWE, like we were saying. But I think Hangman Page, this was probably the best moment in his AEW career. He was hot in this one. He would hit the buckshot lariat for the win. We got new champions. Did you think this was the right decision, changing the titles on the cruise to Hangman and Omega?
Yes. I'm kind of indifferent to it, yeah.
Tentative or yes?
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, I think the whole point was that AEW wanted to add a little bit significance to this being. They just didn't want this to be, I guess, considered like a house show to where
Right.
everybody retains, nothing significant happens. I think they wanted to make this somewhat memorable.
Well, this was
somewhat
the
important.
first title change in their history.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it was on a cruise.
Exactly.
Yep.
How many people are going to be able to say?
I think that was the whole point of it.
I think the whole point of this, too, this is just adding to the Hangman Kenny story
Right.
that we have been getting, kind of Page going to this alcoholic stage where he chugs beers after every match. But this will just be another wrinkle in that story. I'm not seeing a long title reign here, but SCU did it okay. It's the first champs, would you say?
Yeah, I think they might have envisioned a grander, maybe slightly bigger run, but with the tag team division being so jam packed,
Yeah.
There's a lot of options. I could see this being a rolling title where everyone does some time with it. Not quite like a Becky Lynch run where someone just dominates, because there's so much talent, anybody can get it. You
got to build resumes too.
Yeah,
make history, and you got guys like the Private Party, you got the Lucha Bros, you got the Young Bucks who haven't even sniffed the titles yet. And Jurassic Express, the
Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, and there's so much people out there that can win these belts. So I guess with Hangman Page and Omega holding the belts, you can probably lose those titles very shortly. So I like the match. It was a good opener for sure. If we're comparing openers, I think AEW had the better opener on their show.
I would agree.
After that, we would get Britt Baker versus Priscilla Kelly. Not much to note here, which seems to be a common trend in their women's division. Not knocking it because we've already done it. Don't want to harp on it. But the story was really after the match when Tony Schiavone would interview Baker. She's slowly kind of turning into this I don't give a shit persona. I don't want to call it a heel, but like she was basically making fun that Tony was working at Starbucks as a barista before this.
Yeah.
And she was saying she was the best looking girl on that cruise ship, which she probably was.
I mean,
actually, Penelope Ford was there.
She's talented as well.
She's very talented. What do you think about the match and then the after interview with Britt Baker?
The match happened. It was what it was. Basically just a segue to give Britt Baker the mic. I did think her promo was a little sluggish to me. I think there was some time in between her comments where I think she was trying to catch it. And
true.
I think it was a slightly drawn out, but I do like this. She is a dentist. Did you know that?
DMD, that's what that stands for. Doctor of Medical Teeth.
DMT. Doctor of Medical Teeth. So, all right. The women's division just doesn't really do a whole lot for
Rhea's
me.
still the champ, right?
Yep.
Who's she supposed to face at Revolution? Is it? Who won? Nyla Rose? I'm trying to remember. See, that's just the problem with the women's division right now. It's very forgettable.
Yeah.
There's not much going on there, and now we're quickly turning Britt, looks like to be heel, who I thought would have been the right choice for the very first champion. I still am going to stay by that take, Tuck. I think Britt Baker should have been the first champion.
I agree.
Like, what's Rio doing with that belt? What has she brought to the women's championship? Tell me one thing.
Crowd loves her, though.
True. Okay, well, maybe
that's about it. But what has she actually done? Not much.
Maybe she sells merch and gets that pop.
Does she, though?
I don't know. I'm not. Maybe
I
she
can
does.
tell you what a Becky Lynch shirt looks like. I can't tell you what a Rio shirt looks like.
Probably little, because she's a little gal.
You can only order it in doll sizes.
Yeah, only in Rio sizes.
Yeah.
That's it. After that, the Jurassic Express would take on the Inner Circle in 6-man tag. It was pretty good. Jurassic Express, always entertaining. They work so well together. Everybody brings something different to that. What do you think about this matchup here, this 6-man action?
Good way to get Jericho on the card, on his cruise, on TV. Jurassic Express looked good. Marco's stunt had a good little spot, good little run at the end. And that's about it.
Aaron, any comments on the Jurassic Express or the Inner Circle? I know you didn't see this match.
Well, I like both. I think putting Jericho in sort of having him in with a group makes a lot of sense just because, Jericho's a huge credible name in the world of wrestling. I love the Jurassic Express.
Yeah.
I love the Luchasaurus, big dude.
He's got merch for the Jurassic Express.
I really like what's going on there. So I'm a big fan of that. And then it makes logical sense to put Jericho in sort of a group for people to be under his wing. It makes all the sense in the world. So
and it just elevates everybody else.
Right,
as part
exactly.
Of that. Where was Sammy Guevara? Was he there?
I didn't see him.
I didn't see him either. I wonder if he didn't make the trip.
Huh.
We might have to look into that. But yeah, I think they did a good job in this match, specifically making Jungle Boy look good because they kept referencing the fact that he went the distance with Jericho in their one-on-one match that he had. So they're really doing a good job at putting him over as Luchasaurus too, because every time he comes in, that hot tag, it's like Matt Riddle's, It gets the people going.
You're ready for it. Yep.
Yeah, so good match. The Inner Circle would use Jake Hager ringside and other heelish tactics to get the win over the Jurassic Express in 6-man action. After that, we would get Joey Janela versus MJF. Tuck, what are we thinking here?
So I've been a Joey Janela guy.
You have.
Not for having like actual distinct reasoning. I just like his T-shirts and I kind of like the goggles. Last night I kind of fell out of love with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you starting to join my train and my take?
The pause button is now on the T-shirt on ProWrestlingTees.com. Has not been added to the cart, and I don't know. He's not. What makes him a bad boy in that sense? When he's doing the hardcore stuff, when there's elements involved, that Cracker Barrel Clash was great. He had spot. Was he in that?
I think so. With
Jimmy Havoc and Darby
Allin. Yeah,
he's good at those. He's good at that kind of stuff. But I kind of fell out of love with him. They call MJF a technician, I guess.
It's because he's sound. I think he's technically sound at every aspect of wrestling. There's nothing bad about him.
Yeah, that match wasn't. It was solid, I guess.
I think they've done a bad job with Joey Janela and with Sean Spears. I think those are two guys they could have done much more with.
I agree.
And we're not really doing a lot with. And that's the problem with only having one show each week of 2 hours. There's a lot of guys that aren't going to get that shine. MJF is getting the shine. He gets a reaction every time he comes out. That's great. What you want.
He's great.
It doesn't matter how okay or average his wrestling is, which I do think he's an average wrestler, but this match itself, it just didn't do it for me. We would get Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford coming out. They would make out, distract Joey Janela, so that's still going on.
Good for Kip.
Yeah, that's his ex-girlfriend, I think, Joey Janela's.
Yeah.
So that's the story there. MJF gets the win, but after the match, we got to keep building towards this match with Cody at Revolution. There's a lot of stipulations. Got to face Wardlow in the steel cage.
Done. Will be done.
Yeah, it will be. You can't touch each other. So they were doing their promo work, entertaining. Cody would virtually say, "Hey, I can't touch you. Turn around. Who's there, Tuck?"
The Young Bucks for a super kick party.
And then
kick party.
Yeah.
Super kick
party. And after that, they would throw him into the pool.
Yeah.
At least MJF sold like he couldn't swim. That was kind of funny.
That was funny. Okay.
Fun ending to I don't even know if I want to call it average match.
It happened.
Yeah, it was there. It served its purpose, I guess, because you're prolonging Kip Sabian, Joey Janela, and MJF and Cody. So they accomplished that for sure. So the main event, which they were marketing pretty well, Jon Moxley versus Pac, formerly known as Neville to Aaron, and Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, because got to talk WWE term.
I know.
Number one contenders match. So Aaron knows about these two. Moxley would have that eye patch going because Jericho hit him with that. What's the word I'm looking for on that jacket?
Spike. Yeah.
Spike. The week before that. So the entire match, Moxley's doing this with one eye.
Yeah.
On a cruise.
Yep.
Very windy.
Yep.
In the dark.
Boat's got to be rocking.
Come on. Can you imagine wrestling on a boat?
No. I can't imagine wrestling.
I'd puke. Especially if you're Hangman and you had a couple beers.
Yeah.
And then you get in the ring.
Tough.
But I thought this was a very good main event. I think these guys have great chemistry, and it shows. They know what they're doing. They've been in big spots before. They've had big matches in other promotions, the World Wrestling Entertainment, as I talk about. What were your thoughts on this main event between Pac and Moxley?
I was trying to hate on it a little bit on some of the spots where Pac went up to the top rope, and we definitely saw Moxley sitting there. The first one, though, it did look like he set up to do a possum spot where, so I don't know if it's Santana Ortiz, but they will lay there forever and just wait to take their hit and take their spot. So I thought I was getting a little bit more of that, but I'm going with Moxley's a crafty possum on that one.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes I think I do get into a spot where I watch AEW in the back of my head saying it's the inferior show, and I nitpick a little bit more, actually.
It's a fair critique.
Because I really like NXT. But they can both be good. And when I was done, I felt satisfied. I felt like it was a very good main event match.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, I really can't say it better. It was very good. Nothing outstanding. The right guy won. He caught him off guard with that paradigm shift. That's what's cool about his finishing maneuver. Moxley can hit that virtually out of anywhere.
Yep.
Pac gets the shine. He's not being thrown to the back like Sean Spears is, because you got to have Pac on TV. He's one of the best wrestlers. When he was the king of the cruiserweights in WWE, that was some of the best stuff on TV every week. They main evented with Enzo Amore and Neville. So Pac has star power there for sure. So the right man won. We're getting Moxley versus Jericho. at Revolution, which we will be attending.
Yes.
Excitement level, 1 out of 10. How you feeling?
7.5, 8 right now.
Okay.
I got, it was up a tick when I realized that we're getting pretty close. We got those tickets a while ago.
About a month.
It's been sitting there, and
about a month.
The other thing with that main event is it was almost like Jericho was trying to will Pac to win. Like he almost wanted to face Pac a little bit more, and I thought that added a nice element to it too. But yeah, we're about a month and change away. So I'm excited. I am getting more excited, and I will be very excited to go.
Yes, me too. I would have to agree with you. But before we pick our winner for this week, Aaron, I want to leave you a question so I can go warm up my oven for my pizza because I'm very hungry.
Okay.
From what you have seen so far, I believe I asked this last time, so we've progressed a little bit. It's been a couple months. Thoughts on AEW? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? And why have you not really been fully invested into the product? As somebody that watches casually, what hasn't drawn your attention?
I mean, the thing about AEW, things I think giving Jericho the championship to start off made a lot of sense because I think Jericho in very high regard. They obviously have talent. I don't think they have a plethora of it. I think they need more big names.
I agree. I think the roster's a little bit thin.
I think they cannot afford to give their top championship to somebody that's not pretty notorious in the wrestling community.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of AEW, that really, in my opinion, sits with Cody, Moxley, Jericho, and Omega.
Yep.
I think those are the only 4 that you can have hold that championship. So to me, and I could be totally wrong on this, but to me, when I tune in, the environment to me still screams not competitive with WWE. For me, it just seems like secondhand rate. It's like if I turn on a baseball game, to me, it screams AAA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that major league atmosphere.
A fair critique.
And of course, I could see that changing because I think
it's early.
They're going to add bigger names. I think this is the trial stage. I think once these guys, bigger names, maybe in WWE, maybe in New Japan, that see okay, this thing's sustaining itself, we're going to join over.
Yeah, and
I think they will.
Yeah, TNT extended them.
Right.
So we know we've got them a couple more years.
Exactly. And they have the financial backing that they need. So I think it'll get better from here. I do like how they focus on wrestling. I just think personally they need bigger names. I think they just need more bigger names that fans can invest themselves in. Because right now I just reiterated, I don't think they can afford to give their main title to more than a couple guys, where in WWE, if you give it to a whole lot of people, you could see it working.
Yeah.
I just think they need to grow. They need to add more talent, more notoriety, and and I'm sure they will.
Tuck, would you agree with most of what he's saying? I know me and you are kind of on par. We're probably WWE first, but
yeah.
You think those are fair critiques?
I watch it every week. It's good wrestling. It is a good show, but they lack the star power for me. And the thing that WWE has is they have the NXT. When you go to NXT and you watch NXT, for the longest time, it's been trying to see the future.
Yeah.
In card collecting, it's trying to buy the Bowmans and the rookies to see.
Like prospects.
A lot of times, AEW has to get these guys in and establish them without a ton of character build and build up, and that makes it tough for initial investment.
Joey Janela.
And who are the guys that have the most investment? Kenny Omega. He was a star. Jon Moxley, star. Cody, Jericho. The guys that we can see as title holders had runs as legitimate professional wrestlers in whatever brand or company they were working for, and that's why Young Bucks, another one. You know the Young Bucks were good.
Yeah.
Private Party, we like them, but our interest in them has grown since in AEW, and that's just going to take time.
Well, yeah, that's the part. They're at a disadvantage because they have to start somewhere way behind NXT, way behind the WWE. They have to organically build these people. And you can't just throw them into the main event and say, hey, Luchasaurus, here's your title shot. No. Yeah. So they're going to have to take time. They're possibly getting a new show, a second show, I believe.
Oh.
Can't confirm that, but we will see. But this week, who is this week's winner?
We're going to count it down?
You count it down.
3, 2, 1.
NXT. Yeah. It was close.
NXT.
It was closer than
Thanks,
closer than more weekends, I think.
Sure.
That leadoff tag match with AEW was great. The main event was a nice bookend. The middle was just a little sluggish for me.
I think it was a little sluggish for both shows.
I agree.
Because the Finn thing, I could have done without it. The Shotzi and Blackheart was okay. Both shows had a good start and a good finish, but it's a more impactful thing when Keith Lee wins.
Yeah, that was big. That's big.
A huge moment.
And you could almost say it's more impactful when Undisputed Era loses.
Also true.
Good take. If it was somebody else, a title just fell off of Undisputed Era. And that does mean something.
Yeah, for sure. So what is that scoreboard at? 9-5?
I think it's 9-5.
9-5. NXT pulling away. I'm sure AEW will get a win here soon. They got it.
They're going to.
Don't put that scoreboard on social media. You might be in trouble.
Why?
I know.
Because AEW is losing.
If you're an AEW mark and you come at me when I'm trying to be civil and have a professional take, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
It's just come on, get out of here.
Fuck you.
It's good. It is good to be a wrestling fan. It's never been a better time to be a wrestling fan. The access to not only, like for me, I watched this show on my Amazon Fire Stick of a show that was happening in Crown Point, Indiana, and I watched and I got to live stream it. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. There's all different ways to satisfy your needs. So we don't have to be divided. There doesn't have to be a line, but we can be critical of all products.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do here. So if you don't like it, don't listen to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast. Aaron, give me 30 seconds. Final thoughts going into the Royal Rumble. You have 30 seconds, and then Tucky, take us home.
I'll be very quick. Final thoughts. I think one of Ronda Rousey or Edge shows up at the Royal Rumble this year. I'm usually Mr. Negative, but I think one of those two are showing up, so we'll see.
That was less than 30 seconds and stout.
This man finally got to the point.
Yeah, there we go.
Fuck you.
I mean, so Kyle, anything else for us?
No, I'm very excited for Sunday. Us three will be watching it together with hopefully Ryan Vogus and anybody else that we like.
I'll text Mikey.
Las Vegas.
No, Mikey is going to watch it with his dad.
Oh yeah, that is our thing. Jerry is the reason he's into wrestling. Jerry's a great guy.
Shout out to Jerry. Jerry, you should be listening to us.
Yeah, I don't even know that he knows what a podcast is.
Well, he better know.
Yeah,
Mikey, his son, does one.
Yeah, that don't mean he listens.
Fair.
So, once again, we'll see you in about a week or so with our Royal Rumble rundown, and we'll go from there. Thank you for tuning in to the On the Mark Wrestling
podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Mark podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod on the Mark.